Morning, friends. Today I am going to speak about. The poem, third poems, which is prescribed to the BA English Pr.GM University students, IWE Indian Writing in English. The topic of this poem is freedom. Jayanta Mahapatra, and I give some idea about freedom. What is our freedom? What is your freedom? But India got freedom in 15th August 1947. Freedom from the British. Then before India got freedom from the Islamic states, Arabian rulers, from that French rulers. That is getting freedom from the people is not that freedom according to the Jayanta Mahapatra. Why we get that freedom? Because British people leave the tax on salt. All the people refuse to and give the tax upon that salt. Because after 15th August 1947, we are not pay the tax. How many tax today we are getting? So, 15th August 1947 is not the freedom. Only India got freedom from the British because of that tax on salt. Even today also we are buying salt with tax only. Tax is why we have to freely if we give things without any tax means that is freedom. Okay. So my point of view, we should not make any payments to others. We have to lead that very happy and peaceful life without intervention of others. That is known as that freedom, I think so. So what that Jayanta Mahapatra is going to say about this freedom. Jayanta Mahapatra is a well-known Indian writing in English writer. Though he is no more active poetically, no more active, is not to keep on continuously writing poetry, because actually he has completed. He belongs to that physics department, physics professor and teacher, and become that poet, and that is known as God gift and talent. God gift talent he has secured in his life, as he has already produced that best, and he got 1 or 2 decades ago, he has produced. Now he stopped writing poetry or any other things. Still Mahapatra in undoubtful benchmark in Indian writing English poetry traditions. The most of the students who graduates or that excel in English literature, the studies in India have to go through that poem of Jayanta Mahapatra. Even our former English department HOD and Dr. Prabha is also done his doctoral degree, his dissertation upon the select poem of Jayanta Mahapatra. Many people used to get degree, PhD degree, MPhil degree and MA degree in that project, doing his work. And his poems liked by some other, his poems liked by some, otherwise are always that part of discussion, that whenever it happens to be that Indian English poetry, and people used to widely speak about, he courageously, boldly, and expresses his idea, his criticisms against Indian religions or any other religions. He is not belongs to any particular religion. And also he is not a heathen, but he is a very good, nice, good humanitarian, and used to see regarding for this. He born in that 1920. He used to say gang is that holy river, and he used to say the gang flows like a gangrene, and he used to say like this gangrene. And also the Puri is also is in insanity conditions. So all the holy cities like the shifting sand. That means Rameswaram, Kasi, then Puri, then gangs. The people go and die. Directly they will go to heaven. Some of this traditional belief is in that people mind and infuriated regarding for this. The born in 1928. That's why he criticized. Even in this poem, Freedom describes about not a politicians, not a religions can settle that, solve the problem of that people. Problem of the people is also, and he mentioned here 1928. He is that poet, occasional prose writer. Occasionally he used to write the prose like and Pagan, Charles Lamb, and many more writer. And occasional prose writer who writes in English as well as in Oriya also. Out of his 20 books of poetry, he published 20 books of poetry. The only a few could keep their existence. Only a few books only exist, and in that light for long, for this. And some of his poems, however, are that evergreen. I like is one of his poem, Dawn at Puri. Dawn at Puri, that has been prescribed to the previous batch BA English student, Indian writing English. Dawn at Puri, one poem. Puri means not eating substance, eating things which are made by wheat flour and fried in that oil. Not Puri is the one of the holy land of Indians and Hindu people regarding in that place. He is a poet of landscape, and mostly his poems are but a kind of the search for peace. All the 20 books, each and every and piece of writings help us to find the peace in our life. Peace means silence. Peace. And a peace in that natural essence. Every people want peace only, happiness in their life. He is a poet and who begins with that some sorts of image or a group of image, and then and follow to lead, make it so that poem about that poem. And he point out that one particulars of the image of that Puri, or that the image of that and religious people, Hindu religious people, and gather in that holy cities. Not only the religious people, all kinds of the people gather in that holy land, and it describes, you find the root cause for that one. The some of his poems, however, is a evergreen. I like his one of his poem, Dawn at Puri, and he is a poet of landscape. With mostly his poems are but kind of search for peace. In that natural essence, he is a poet who begins with some sorts of image or group of images, and then follow that lead to make it into the poem about the poem. The poem Freedom portrayed that Indian belief system. Poem deletes out Indian belief system about death as freedom. Death is that only freedom, unless we cannot live without any bond, without man born free, and he goes wherever with chain, and wherever goes with Karl Marx used to say regarding for this, and freedom from that body, and death as that freedom from that body. Freedom is that life motive, and light motive. In that poems, it is written in that first person point of view, and it consists of that 12 stanzas. The poem Citizen is consists 12 stanzas, and it has no definite structure. No, it is not or quatrains or condas or that elegy. It is not the follow that any and features which is formed by that literary and people. It consists three lines and 4 lines and 2 lines a couplet, 2 lines. It has that quatrain and also these quatrains, 4 quatrains and 3 lines and quatrains and also the couplet. It perhaps resembles to that trouble of others' mind, the feeling, the finding freedom even after that 50 years. But today we are going to celebrate this more than 75th Independence Day. People did not get freedom because we were tortured by this Indian rulers rather than that British people. British people give only and less amount of. British people did not destroy any natural mountain. They did not destroy that forest, and they have preserved Sundarban forest preserved for that 20 to 25,000 acres land. Today only 6,000 acres forest is destroyed by these Indian rulers, and they did not get any happiness in our life. So far in 1947, today we are going to celebrate 1957 means 353, then 75 years. But have we got any freedom? And we are also the people are always the slave, and even that the ruler only shifted. But before India foreigners ruled, now the Indians are ruled the same manner. We are getting the problem of that independence, and we are not get the theme of this poem. God lives in the darkness. God lives in the darkness, and only the priest benefit from being the mediator between the God and people. Mediator, priest only acting as a mediator, but God is in the dark room. God is lived as a slave, but God directly not interested to speak with God. That's why Jesus Christ told, no need any mediator between me and you. You want to, you have the rights to speak directly at me. I ready to listen your words. I will give that counselings through my holy scriptures. And Bible used to say like this. No mediator is required. But Indians, mediator is essential. Mediator only performing all rituals. That's why they were become richer and richest. But all the peoples are getting richest into that poorest state because of that mediator. What they are speaking at the God, we know not. Yeah, he is getting for praying for our welfare or his welfare, his life only, their life only, and developed. They have used to go and settle in that developed countries like America, Russia, Canada, Britain. But we are living in, not living in that. People used to say we were ruled in the country. We are a descendant of this the kings and the people. We used to say like this. That is waste. Who is that present king is more important. Only priest and other peoples are ruling. Even Uttar Pradesh ruled by the priest. Ruled by priest. Even some of this northern state, Rabri Devi and many more people. And all the people, all the nations and principal controlled by that only and priest only. The God remains a slave, and priest and politicians rule and find luxury while others are dying of hungry. God remains slave. God did not have rights to give any blessing to without knowledge of the mediator, priest. But politician and priest are ruling the country. You know very well. But who is that real authority, real powerful person of this NDA government? Who is that real authority and powerful person of this UPA government and or ADMK government or DMK government or any other government is any part of the world? They only politician ruled these countries and priest are ruled this country, but God remain as a slave. God does not have, and the find luxury while others are trying for food and dying for food. And the rest of the common people and working class people working for this more than 12 hours, 20 hours, they were working, but they are also not working. because like kind of God remains a slave. The priest and politicians are ruled, but actually other Andavan, because God ruled, because British people is also considered as a God, because they had given more importance to that hungry people and did and fulfill their deeds for this. But they find luxuries, politician and priest are finding luxurious life, while all other citizens are dying of hunger. Hunger means without food. People are, what is happening in that Somalia, what is in Siberia, what is in Nigeria, what is in many other and Syria and many more countries, what is happened in that Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh and western North India is also moving towards south. In those days, south moves towards North India. Nowadays, North India is moves towards the south. North comes to the and south regarding for this. What is the reason for? Because penury is there. Because they did not get any and basic fundamental things. To get the basic fundamental things like shelter, cloth, and food, they are coming and staying here. They have rights. The Indian Constitution permit. If we can go any part of the world, any part of the people can come here. We are not living in that and particular country, imperial countries or any other countries. We are living in that secular country. Secular country, it should be accepted unless we will be punished by the constitution, or unless we will punished by United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. We should follow all the things, otherwise we will get that some of the consequences in the international level. But we have built a lady and her child do not even have one meal a day. A lady, if he had seen these things in his life, a lady and her child do not have even that one meal a day. But we have built the temples, but all the people standing against the monument to the pen only give that free rice, pen only give that housing house concrete houses, pen only give that education to all the people, pen only is giving all the human rights to the people, pen only and all the world people pen only and give that all the basic fundamental things to all the people is pen is my, to that making monument to the pen, people are using standing against that. But people are not standing against that construction of that temple. If you construct the temple, who will be? The priest will come and find and working there. He lead that luxurious life. He can travel in the airplane. He can go to foreign land. He can enjoy all the things. But he lead the luxurious life. We have to starve and without food, remaining amount also in the name of that and offerings you drop into the and treasuries of that temple. The treasury and the amount will be utilized by that priest and his family members and his relatives enjoyed a lot. We will suffer a lot. We have to take food in that street and roadside. That is but we have and build the people, even a woman. But nowadays, by God grace, writing of that even Jayanta Mahapatra at this advice, and Tamil Nadu people used to get rice and more than 20 years and 20 kg free rice, 25 kg free rice and 18 kg free rice to that orphan, free rice to that elderly people and food, lot of free things given, because this kind of humanitarian had given this knowledge, suggestions through their writing. That's why we are getting all the things that has been taken into the and Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution, that thing is not written in the Indian Constitution. We cannot get anything in this world. The point concludes that freedom is that found only after that death only we get the problem. Even some of that mother used to say, some of the lady used to say, some of the all the old people is daily pray at that God come and take away. How can God will come and take you from this land to, because he lived life as a slave in that dark room. The priest is living in that bright room and a decorated castle and palace, but God lives in that dark room. Without knowledge of that priest, we cannot give light to the God, or God should not give light, because God will not speak, because no, not what language is used by the God. Only they think light, that is that God language, and many more things is mentioned in that spot. Found after the death, The poet concludes that the freedom is that found only after death, that he would not be part of any religion. But Jayanta Mahapatra is not a Christian, he is not a Muslim, he is not an Hindu, he is not that Sikh or any other religions or heathen, but he is speaking about in general, whether it is Christianity or Islam or Muslims, all the people cannot solve that people queries. They lead luxurious life through that religion, through that politics. No politician, no religion should find remedies, panacea to that people. That is more important. And he says that only, and the whole and shale know that freedom. Even the fish are living as a lives freedom with freedom in the water. The birds are getting lot of freedom, but human beings we don't get any freedom. We have to get freedom only within India. We cannot go to Pakistan without their consent. We cannot go to America because without their knowledge. But if the birds can come from America to India, India to America, because they only enjoyed that freedom in this place only. The fish is that freedom. For Indian fish go to that American oceans, or American ocean fish come to the Indian oceans, but Indians should not go to that America. America should not. It is the restriction is mentioned, no freedoms to that people, human being. She said that only the coal and shale know that freedom. The body and the soul have to be separated to find a freedom. So, unless we die, we cannot get any freedom. Unless we have to lead that certain restriction, rules and regulations, unless we will be spoiled our life, our body. So, the body, and when we die, the time of freedom to that. 1947 is not a freedom. Or any other celebrations of that day will not bring any freedoms to us. Now I am going to read that text which is written by Jayanta Mahapatra. The first three paragraph. At times as I watch, it seems as though my country body, it shows my country body means a country citizen. I had also seen many people, country citizen, float down somewhere on the river. The river after death, the dead bodies are floating in the gangs, floating in that all perennial rivers, all the holy places are floating in that real. Some of these aguris is also used to eat that and the human dead body flesh and corpse, because I think they don't have any food to eat. To alleviate their hungry, they used to eat. I had seen that one of Agoris used to come to the graveyard, not graveyard, and crematorium, and by night 12 o'clock with the weapon. And also he used to take that some part of the dead bodies which was burning on that fire, and used to and soaked into that sea water or water, and used to eat and then go back. That they are also leading very and freedom life. They do not make any payment regarding tax. The floating down somewhere on that river, you can see that all the holy rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, it is only running, flowing to carry the dead bodies only. Dead bodies on that place. Here, old widows and dying men and cherish their freedom. Cherish means they have to enjoy. Who had they enjoy? Old man and widow woman. Old widow woman, no new remarriage. Yeah, in those days, they must die while waiting. They were left into the and holy places. They waiting for that death. And over here, old widows and dying men, and here it is the old widows and dying man. Dying man means the old man cherish their freedom and bowing time after time in abstinent prayer. Even Muslims in 5 times they have to stop their trade, stop their business. They have to make and worship dua 5 times. It is abstinent. It is not they are not doing with their own compulsions. They are doing that things with the compulsion of the priest. But priest lead that luxurious life that people is dying for and struggle to get their daily bread and get their basic fundamental things. And a life alone, I grow into third line, third paragraph. On the left alone, I grow into a half disembodied bamboo. And I grow into the disembodied. My body is at the left alone. The people used to bring that dead bodies, leave that bodies into that river. Disembedded bamboo. Bamboo means the some kind of the and trees used to carry the dead bodies to make the stretcher with this. It is the lower part of that sun into itself in that park, itself in that and bank, itself in that. It is sung into that, partly is sung, it is floating in that place. In the fourth graph, while that children scream with this desire of for the freedom, children also lived and lead that free life. They didn't care about any other things. They lead luxurious and happy life in this world. While that children they screamed with this desire and for freedom. Children's desire for freedom. Whenever the school is over, how much freedom they used to give, and with the enthusiasms, with the great noise and uproar, came out from that school into their house, because they can lead. No teacher, no one is command. Keep quiet, sit tight, and don't speak, and don't murmur. Nobody is scolded in that house. Nowadays, nobody is scolded in the school. It is entirely changed, because they go into the school with great cheer and great happiness and charismatic point of view, because the school become that freedom place, enjoyable place. Nowadays, schools were that real place to give knowledge. Nowadays, the schools, all schools, whether it is international school or state board schools or CBSE or whatever it may be, only given that enjoyment, only dance. How that teacher also dance with dance, how it is also pressured by not mind work, knowledge should be given, and attitude should be given, and some of this point of lead that is very strictly disciplined should be blind, and unless you control your senses in that place, you cannot control in all place. If you cannot control your senses, but you cannot get peace in your life. I made this statement. While the children scream with this desire for freedom, எப்படா 4 மணிக்கு அடிக்கும் பெல், with very quickly, enthusiastically come, and we wish to play, and we wish to roll down on that. We can do all kinds of and sports activities after 4. That is sad times to enter into the school, and transformed that world without even laying hands on it, the freedom, and they did not touch regarding with this. In my blindness at the time I fear, I wander back to either of them, in order for me not to lose the peace. So I did not get angry. In my blindness at times I fear, I wander. I wander means moving here and there. I get the fear when we entered into the school, when we look at that teacher, and we used to get fear, because the fear due out of respect, out of honor, and many more things. Nowadays, when the teacher look at the student, they get the fear, what they are going to ask, and many things for this. I wander back to either of them, in order for me not to lose pace. In order for me, I did not get any angry, I did not get any suffering and sorrows. It is necessary for me to be alone. So when we are alone, we can enjoy that any freedom. So I am only man in this area. So I am no disturbance by anybody. That is why I am speaking solemnly, continuously, and also I put airplane mode this mobile to take this video. Unless any call will come, and it will be disconnected. And I don't have that art of disconnected video into that connecting. I don't know art of editing work regarding for this. That's why I put that to avoid that interruption. I put that and aeroplane mode. Aeroplane. I am not traveling in that aeroplane, but I am in that inland to avoid that freedom, to avoid the trouble, avoid that and disturbance and impediments. I am speaking with you for their daily meal. Okay, not to me, a woman and her child. My HOD is coming. It is also one of this physical disturbance. It cannot be avoided. It is not a disturbance. It is duty to observe and monitor what the faculty is doing. It is a duty, head of the department, sir. Please come and show your bright, colorful piece, please. Vaga, please. Sir is not refused to show his identification because he is not like many other things. And not to me, the woman and her child in the remote village in the hills, and who never had even a little rice for their one daily meal these 50 years. Even these 50 years, now 75 years we are getting. We are last 20 years in Tamil Nadu, all the people used to get the free rice, ration card holders. I am not telling that in the private people used to buy, and that what rice? Back rice, and also I don't like to, but in the civil supply store of this government used to give free rice. They used to give, but they get indirectly amount from some other taxes, and many taxes from us to buying some other things from here. But anyhow, we need not go with the money to buy the rice, but we have to make the payment, and the optimum payment, minimum payment to that kerosene, sugar and dal and palm oil like this. We have to not to meet that woman and her child in the remote village in the hills, in that SC/ST people also heard about that. No, and civil supply store, and no, and ration shop to that village. They have to travel more than 5 miles. But 20 years man can buy and carry that things. What about in 60 years? Nowadays, mobile civil supply store is operated by the government. Such a things should be given there also. That is why India government had given Padma Shri and also Sahitya Academy Award to this writer. This has been executed. It is that it is not the poem only prescribed to the student. It is that applications of that citizens and what have to do. It should be given to that administrator, rulers, prime minister, chief ministers, and many ministers and other cabinet ministers. After giving for this last 20 years, we are getting and free rice. Whether we are utilizing that rice or giving that rice for the poultries, chicks or many things, and whether using that doesn't matter. Okay, not meat to a woman and her child. That's a remote village in that hills, who never had even that little rice for their one daily meal these 50 years. Then what is the use of getting freedom? So according to him, that time they did not give, but this time we are getting, not all over the India. So for this we are getting freedom for this. And 7th paragraphs, and not to see that uncaught bloodied light on the sunset clinging of that tall white columns of that Parliament House, even that MLA MPs, they did not see even that sunlight. They used to live in that the castle and palaces. They lead luxurious, very sophisticated life. But all other peoples living always in that sunset, and they did not set the sweat or any other things. They lead luxurious life. Rest of the people suffering even for the fundamental things. He used to say. And the 8th paragraph, a new temple man has built nearby. A new temple man has built nearby. The priest is the one who knows that freedom, while that God hides in the dark like an alien. God like only priest, in the nearby the temple, the door of the temple is not open. Whenever that ritual is over and the priest locked the door, the God was inside. Why that God was inside? Only after receiving the salvation, after the blessing, and the priest go and lead a free life, but not a possible to that God and goddesses. They were treated as an alien. Alien is come means we have to imprison, keep in that prisons from here. Very good, nice things for this. So worshipping at that God and doing ritual at that God, to donate everything for the God. And some of the people putting crores and crores of money. Some of the people putting that gold and silver, everything for their blessing for their blood. Even the God himself is a slave. They were confined, they were closed, they were kept in that. The God is kept in the dark room, and God is not the powerful one. God is the inferior one. Superior is that God is going. God, you go by. People used to say by walking, but the priest required the bullet. People used to say கடவுளே கால்நடையாக போயிட்டு இருக்கு, பூசாரிக்கு புல்லட் இருக்குதா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. The பூசாரி can go with the bullet, but God should be remain in that cell. In the 8th part, in the new temple man has built nearby, the priest is that one who needs freedom. And while that God hid in that dark, like an alien means the foreign man, some of the human beings from that other planet, they should not be have rights to enter into this area. And each day, in the 9th couplet, and each day I keep looking for the light. The shadows find excuses to keep. Every day I would like to find the and light knowledge. The shadow for this is a solve that suffering of the people, sorrow of the people, and the penury of the people, poverty of the people, hungry of the people, disease of the people. But excuse to keep, but I cannot find anything from here. What is that root cause? Lord Buddha is inverted. The greediness is the root cause for the suffering. It is not known by that all luxurious people and priests as well as that politicians doing like this. Trying to find that in the 10th couplet, trying to find that only freedom I know, the freedom of the body when it alone. When that body is, when it alone and without, that is the real. Death is the only freedom to all the people. Death bring peace to us. Death bring happiness to us. Death bring solutions to all our problems. We did not get any panic for anything, worry about anything, sir. So according to that Jayanta Mahapatra, death is the real freedom. It should be commemorated, it should be and worshipped. All the people eagerly awaiting for that. Death is that alone bring happiness to this life. In the 11th couplet, the freedom of that silent shale and moonless cold, the beds of that stream of sleeping God is sleeping in that stream, sleeping in that God Krishna is used to the freedom of this silent shale. The fish is moving from down and up, moving in all sides in the large fish. No restriction. You cannot control that sail with any your constitution, any your rules and regulations. Only rules and regulations to the human beings, because they were lived as a slave like a god. How that god was controlled and confined by the priest, as far that we were controlled by the politician even in this land. We should not break, we should not live like a bird, we should not live like an animal, we should not and live like any other freedom children in this world unless we will be charged. So that and the beds of that stream of the sleeping God is from here. The stream and the solution, and who can give that remedy to our problem and remedy to our solution means God alone. But God is sleeping inside the dark room. Regarding for this, in the 12th couplet, the ashes away, keep the ashes away, trying not to wear them on my forehead. I don't bring any ashes. Ash means the holy ash, and Lord's some and the holy ash people used to say. But Jayanta Mahapatra keeps it. First solve all this problem, then you come and give me this ash or whatever it may be. I can put in the flat side, I can put in that, I can put that grass, I can put that whatever it may be, and worship namas and do everything. First settle all these people and set free the people, then come and keep all the things. Because even in that God is not in the open place, that is in the closed place that has been protected, and that is as a slave that were controlled by the priest. But priest is that more powerful person than the God for this. So keep the ashes away. Away means don't be embrace any religions. Try not to wear them on my forehead. என்னிட்டே நீ வந்து சிலுவை போடு, Patta podu, Ramam podu. You should not speak about that. I know, I am the knowledgeable person. I know what should I do, whether put the cross or put the namaz or that and keeping ashes or whatever it may be. But don't adjust me. I am not that inferior, I am not knowledgeable person, but I am that knowledgeable person. Don't teach me at all. So don't try to you follow this one or that one. Even Kamala Das born in that class, one of this orthodox family, now she changed to that is and religion to this Islam. Yeah, like that many people. I am also born in that. I know not what Hindu or whatever it may be, but I now unofficially embrace that Christian. Jesus is that topmost priority I used to give to Jesus rather than any other God. Next chance, Kali, the for my forefather God, and regarding for this goddesses. Yeah. So don't, he is sternly for this. So all the people compulsion. It has been the compelled say Ram, say Ram, say. Don't say. Let me to say as per my own faith, own understanding, and own things. That is more important than don't compel. And do the good things, do the solve all my things. Then I will follow that. You need not force me to do like this. And say Allah, say Jesus, and wear cross. Don't force, but you render the service to the suffering people and poor people and needy people, and they will and take the decisions which should be followed. That is more important. But what is that? Only freedom means the death is that only freedom. The 1947 is not should not be celebrated, because that is not solve all these problem of these people. They can control all the people. They can do lead that luxurious life. We are leading very penury life, very poor life. They are always flying on this aeroplanes to aeroplane. But we are flying to get our daily bread and our basic fundamental things. So, and don't compel me to all these things from here. Very good, nice, wonderful poem. I would like to read one more time of this poem regarding fire. At a time as I watch, it seems as though my country body is floating down somewhere on the river. Here old and widows and dying men cherish their freedom, bowing time after time in abstinence and prayer. Left alone, I grow into the half disembodied bamboo. It is lower part sung, and it's into itself in the band. While the children scream with this desire for freedom, to transform the world without even laying hands. They have to change the world, transform the world, to give that freedom to all the people. Boundaries should be removed. Boundaries should not be, mending walls should not happen in this any part of the countries. Let them to fair rented service. In my blindness at time I fear, I wander back either of them, in order for me not to lose face. It is necessary and for me to be alone. We have to be alone. That's why I used to be alone, be awake, be hungry to get a solution and solve, to get the peace and freedom to our life. We should not stay with anybody and with us unless not possible, and not to meet woman and her children, not to meet woman and her child in that remote village in the hill, who never had even a little rice for their one daily meal on these 50 years. Then what is the freedom? What is the freedom? And not to see that caught blood and blood died light on that sunset cling to the tall white columns of the parliament. They did not see the sunlight. They lead always luxurious room, AC room, but how they are leading life will guide you. So that what is that freedom? And even and each day I keep looking for that light. The shadow find excuses to keep. Each day I'm searching and thinking about to solve the problem of these people, but I failed. I cannot get regarding for this. Trying to find only the freedom I know, the freedom of the body, and when it is alone. The freedom of that silent shade, the moonless cold, the beds of the stream of the sleeping God. See, God is always sleeping, always not listening, deaf. God is blind, God is deaf, God is insane. He did not see all the things. He is taking, keep on rest in this world. So keep the ashes away. Keep the ashes away. Try not to wear them on my forehead. You should not ask me to embrace any of the religions, because I am the general body, general human beings, giving equal to all the religions, because I am living in the secular country. I am not living in that imperial country or any other independent country. I am living in the democratic country, and that is why I have rights to embrace anything or not to embrace anything, to lead as the heathen in this world. So, and find the solutions to give freedom to all the people. The fruits of the freedom should remain with the hands of the priest and hands of the politician, but not at the common man like me, as well as to all the people. So give that real freedom to all the people. That day is that. That is why Gandhiji did not take part in the celebration of that. This is spirit. This freedom is not my freedom. My freedom is that when all the women come to that street wearing that gold, and safely reached into that working place, into the and service. That is the, that day is, that means what? All the people should become the equal property, equal wealth, equal richest condition. All the people must lead that happy life without any problem. That is that real way of that independence. That is the real way of giving and getting freedoms to all the people. Goodbye to that. I salute to that and Mr. through Jayanta Mahapatra to giving this very good, nice idea to that young minds to establish that real freedom to all the people. Thank you so much, friend. I hope definitely you will like and subscribe, share, and cox that bell buttons to get the notice of my video. Thank you, friends. Bye.